being dope above all is the answer to success.
Yep.
But there's also the side of like some of the dopest people have nobody looking at them.
Yeah. Wow, that's true. That's 100% true.
And you could be the dopest person in the world and 5 people ever knew who you were. That happens every day.
Yeah.
And those people give up and they go work at UPS.
Yeah.
But they were the best.
Yeah.
And it happens in sports.
Yep.
It happens in music. It happens in everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard. The people that see the top, honestly, besides the people that like strike gold in it and like get really lucky and like viral success, it's the people that hang in the longest. It's perseverance and patience. The people that are around the longest and can continue to create moments or be a part of the conversation are the people that create longevity.
My God, is that the Faces of the Future? Yo, it's your boy Myles. Welcome to an all new episode of the Faces of the Future podcast. I got my boy Polis in the building today. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's summer. It's not summer, it's spring though. The warm weather's here.
This is the best weather of the year yet.
Yeah, you're like a warm weather guy. You don't like the cold?
I like the cold for like a month.
Yeah, for a month.
I like getting jackets off.
Yeah.
And the heavier clothes.
Yeah.
But then the sickness and the being freezing. And
yeah.
I got the light arthritis going on.
He said I got the light arthritis. That's funny as hell, man. So the arthritis, the cold doesn't do arthritis because I got like from playing football and shit. I have like rods and shit in my wrist because I broke my wrist a couple times. So like when the cold comes, my wrist be on, they be hurting, be stiff, everything like that. But like warm weather, I'm chilling.
Yeah, I got that too. Like, and when the rain's coming, I can feel it.
Yeah, he said I can feel it. That's funny as hell, man. Nah, I feel that. But bro, what you been up to though? How's life been treating you? It's been a little bit since we like chop it up. I know when we were doing stuff in the past, we used to talk all the time about just different things. But like, how have you been? How's life been? How's things been for you?
I've been really good. I've been kind of laying low, just grinding on a ton of different things, like between personal life and then also just with the amount of work we're putting out with HBC.
Yeah.
This is a year of albums for us, so like I'm engineering in the background all rollouts, music videos, photo shoots, content.
Yeah.
Just content and content and content. But trying to be like proactive with strategy and also keep on top of my health.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the healthiest I've ever been. So overall, really good. Like really keeping my head down, being healthy, staying out of the mix, and just working heavily on my craft.
Yeah. How's that been like navigating, like just doing everything? You know, like you said, it's the year like the album for you guys when it comes to like HBC and all that type of stuff. Is that normally how you guys do it? It's like, all right, one year you guys are just planning, building, creating, and then you guys have a set time where it's like, all right, this year is like we're rolling everything out. Like how does that normally go about?
I think we come up with a plan usually at the end of each year, and it's like, we're going to do this, and this.
Right.
And then halfway through the year, we're like, okay, we haven't gotten to number 1, haven't even started number 2.
Yeah.
And this year happens to be a year where they all have finally come around, and like where every project that we thought was going to be out last year or the year before is now coming out this year.
Right.
So we're kind of just flooding, but it was through a whole lot of years of preparation. And for us, some of the things just like we've been putting a lot of time into like the mixing and mastering process, making it honestly take way longer than it should be taking.
Right.
But the amount of care and going back and forth with our engineers, shouts out Justin Miller. I know he's sick of us, but I love you. And he's been going crazy. And then Charlie Coyne and Ryan Schwab with our mastering. So that process, and then down to the music video processes. Like we have music videos coming out soon that were filmed over a year ago.
Right.
That we thought were going to be out last year. But it gave us time to like properly strategize, and it's like we don't have a label behind us or funding or anything. It's literally just us.
Yeah.
So like trying to do things right and not rush things either. Focusing on the quality over the quantity.
Right.
Granted, we have a ton of stuff this year,
Yeah.
but we really focused over the last few years on just upping our quality. so that when we do put stuff out, that it's like we're never looking back and being like, damn, wish we did it like that, or having these missed opportunities.
So how far in advance do you guys normally plan? Like, especially because how many people's on your roster right now?
A lot. I want to say 8.
Okay, yeah. So you guys have a solid lineup of artists on the roster.
Yeah.
So how does like the planning go in terms of like how far advanced do you do for like each artist? This is like, all right, do you complete one project first with one person and then all right, now we're on to the next person, or is it like simultaneously everybody's working?
Everybody's working at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it's like really a matter of like who's ready when. So like everyone's grinding at the same time, and then it's who has a finished product.
Yeah.
So it's like and that product is the music in the project. So like once something's mixed and mastered, that's essentially when we have a product ready to go. Then it's like, okay, we need to get the artwork, get the videos, get everything done, create a rollout, a narrative if we need it for this rollout, that if it wasn't already in the music. And that process can take us up to a year of like really grinding on that. Usually there's stuff working in the background too. I can say like in the last, we just put out a project in April for our artist Lord Trippy called No Hentai in Heaven. And we really didn't have any rollout when we submitted the album a month before release.
Really?
And then in that month, we just grinded everything we possibly could. Like I shot multiple videos. Some were like just supposed to be photo shoots, and then we turned it into like little music videos. Shot a bunch of different performance content with other creators too. Still doing that. And honestly, that all came together within 3 weeks, and we were able to just grind through a ton of effort and get all of that done really fast. And then other things like we're putting out a project in June called Shameless Nocturnal, and those videos were shot over a year ago. And then one of them was shot like 6 months ago and is also being finalized still. The other thing is we're working on stuff till like the moment it comes out.
Yeah.
The music stops the moment we hit up the distributors, but even then I've had to hit the distributors and be like, can we swap out files?
Really? How's that process? Like,
good if you have communication with your distributor. Shouts out Amuse, that's our distributor. And then shouts out Marcos, Alejandro. Those guys up there really help us on the back end, just like little things such as file management or artwork management, and like swapping out, oh, we uploaded the wrong mix, can you swap this out without us losing all the streams and stuff like that. And they make it very seamless.
That's good that you have a good relationship with distributors. I feel like a lot of people don't even take like the necessary steps to make sure they have those relationships. It's kind of like whether you're like, I mean, a lot of independent artists, they use like the distro kids or whatever, which is nothing wrong with that. But like just finding whether it's somebody in the building or the corporation that you're working with, it's always good to have those relationships. The thing I wanted to kind of pinpoint of what you mentioned was the process, like the mixing and mastering, because the artist, we just dropped a project with the artist we're managing, Sydney Ruth, and it's the same process. That's the thing that came to my mind is like the mixing and mastering. You got to make sure the vocals are the right way, whatever it may be. Like what are those conversations like with the artists? Because you have 8 artists on your roster about like maybe something you may feel sounds quality, finished, but they're like, nah, like this isn't the best version. Like how do those conversations go? Is there like drag out fights or whatever? Like what's the conversations like?
For the most part, not drag out fights. There's like occasions or like usually when someone finishes the project to them, before it reaches mixing, they'll send it around to everybody and ask for everybody's notes. And kind of get them all individually. And then the artist takes that into consideration, and that's sort of what it all is. It's in consideration. And whether they choose to actually make those changes or not is dependent on what they're feeling. And then there's times it reaches mixing, and then it's the same process again. It's like sending around the mixes to everybody. Usually once they're in a comfortable place, like if they know they already have edits, they're not even sending it to us.
Right.
When they're happy, they'll send it around, ask all of us, and yet again, it's like in consideration. There's definitely been times I've gone like super extra of like, I know you feel this way, but nah,
Yeah.
this John needs to get changed.
Yeah.
And there's also been times where I've gone and done that, and it still didn't get changed because the person liked what was there.
Right.
So yeah, everybody's pretty open to the criticism and usually pretty welcoming and usually asking for it. And it's just a matter of whether they do every single piece of critique they get.
Did it take a while to get to that point though? Like in terms of like that relationship, or you guys always kind of had that relationship?
No, that was it from the beginning. I think that's kind of what brought us all together.
That's cool.
And like new people that end up joining HBC, it kind of happens in that natural way of like these become your peers and your collaborators, and then you're like asking for their opinions on things because you respect their opinion.
Yeah.
And then once that working relationship kind of happens, like that's ultimately helping you grow.
Yes.
And not leaving anyone like too like close-minded.
So when it comes to your collective or your group, your label, I mean, was it like a certain number of you guys that started? Like, what were you doing before you even got to, like, I guess HBC was founded? Like, what was Riley? Were you in the city running around in music industry? Like, what were you doing?
No, HBC comes first. So we founded it junior year of high school.
Okay.
And it was me, Tawobi, Moses Mosima, and I Hate You Sheed.
Okay.
And then a bunch of our other friends, Ben, Chris, Gomez, Jeff. But we started it all in high school and then really like set up our friend Ben's basement into a studio. That's where the basement and highest basement comes from.
Okay.
And that was like our original place where we worked on everything. And like we essentially, that was it. After school, we were going over there. It was also halfway a party house too. So like that was going on at the same time, but like partying, using it as a studio, making music in high school, releasing projects when we were in high school. Then we all graduated, and like half of us went to school. Me and a person, Gomez, went out to California. And we did that for like 2-ish years, everybody either in school or us out there. And then either everybody quit school or came back home like me and Gomez, and we came back and then formed in our friend Ben's. He was going to Drexel.
Yeah.
The one of us that did graduate. But we came back and we were staying in his dorm on the Drexel campus, and turned that into a studio. And then that was like 2015. And that was my introduction to like the Philly scene. I was like 19.
Okay.
So I'd moved right after high school to California when I was 17. And then met Rec a year later.
Yeah.
So that's 2016.
Right.
Like early navigating Rec and meeting people in the city. And then basically met everybody I know in the city through those few years there of me just running around trying to like network as much as I can, go to everybody's events, try and like do that whole process.
How was the Cali scene before we get into like the Philly scene? How was the Cali experience? You said you were there for 2 years. Like, were you out there just trying to like find yourself, or like what was that like mission?
That was a childhood dream.
Okay.
My dad lives in California.
Okay.
So like as a kid, I grew up going back and forth. So the summers I would be out in California, and then during the school year I was here. So then I always wanted to live out there with him. And then I did that and ended up working for the LA Times doing like door-to-door newspaper sales.
Okay.
Tried doing community college, dropped out of that real quick. And ultimately, like, I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't do a single thing really related to music at all. It was kind of just working in sales and being in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then that made me not want to go to school either. I was just like, I just want to make money.
Right.
And then I was just like, there was a catalyst moment. I had a friend that passed away, Luke. And it really put some things into perspective in my mind. I was like, he was a new friend, like someone I met out there. And that passing hit me so hard that I was like, I need to get back to my friends and family. And then also HBC was still a thing. We were just all like kind of doing it in the background now, like when we would regroup on the holidays and stuff like that. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so then you're moving back to Philly. You got into the rec scene. So you say you're showing up to like everybody's events. Like, did you have like a mindset of like, all right, I'm trying to make these connections to like get HBC off the ground, or is it just I'm navigating to just find my place in this scene?
I was trying to get HBC
Okay.
off the ground. I was trying to find, because it was honestly the same hustle back then. Like, we had projects, we had artists, we needed places to perform, we wanted to find new collaborators and stuff like that. So it was really like going out and entering every room and just trying to find like people with that could help us in some capacity.
What was that initial experience like? Were you like, did you have like success starting off, or was it like a welcoming environment? Because like you came into because I'm from Jersey, so I came into the Philly scene probably right before like COVID time, like 2018, 2019. So I was a couple years like after you, because I was out in Colorado.
Yeah,
I'm going to school, playing ball, and all that type of stuff. So
that was the big like Charlie Heat, Ant Beal, Fontaine.
Yeah, they're that time, and that's like, so when I came back out, that's when I met Charlie and all that type of stuff. Got locked in with him. Was going back and forth to LA, that type of thing. So what was your experience like diving into the Philly scene? Because I had an experience where I had to like get to know a bunch of people. Like I knew people, but I didn't know like the people that were making things move and shake until I got into like rec as well.
Yeah.
So like, tell me a little bit about your experience.
Wow. Yeah, it's not often I think about that. It was kind of a whirlwind of just like meeting random people and just come over to our house, work, like let's make music together or talk about how we can work together. That was how I met Rec. It was through Tim Montgomery, rest in peace. I think I hit them up on Instagram because I saw they went to South by and did a show with like Uzi and Freeway. I was like, and Tunji. I was like, what the hell? I was like, who is this company that's Rec Philly? So I hit them up, and then Tim Montgomery ended up pulling up to our friend's dorm on Drexel's campus. Like, this is like first 6 months of us really starting to get things moving in Philly. But it was just like that. It was like, we got a studio, hit people up, tell them to come through. And then we'd go out, meet them, smoke with them, drink with them, do whatever we had to do to like get cool. And then we just would try and do shows together or whatever it would be. But there was definitely moments where it felt like standoffish. But I was fresh out of sales. Like, I was doing door-to-door newspaper sales, trying to sell newspaper subscriptions. And the transition to trying to network music locally, where, like, everybody wants to be a little bit supportive. People can be dicks or standoffish, but, like, at the end of the day, like, they don't want to hate on people that are, like, chasing their dreams for real. Where the newspaper was literally, like, get out of my face, slam the door.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
My, like, ability, like, the rejection I learned to be able to handle from that was extreme. So it wasn't that hard. It was kind of just learning like who's who, like who does what, who can help us in this way. Like whether it's like who are the best mixing engineers, who are the best graphic designers, who are the best mastering engineers, who throws the best shows, who are the DJs, who has the studios, who shoots the videos, who does the photos. Like, it was just kind of finding all of those people. And once there was a goal of, like, who you were trying to meet, you kind of would lock in with those people, become friends. Next thing you know, the photographer you met or hired is like, yo, I'm doing a photo show. Then you go to that photo show and you meet 5 other people that do this, this, and this. And then you're just expanding that network slowly. The hard part is, I guess, like, maintaining those relationships.
What do you mean?
I feel like it's easy, especially in the city where it's kind of like everybody's kind of competing.
It's that unwritten like competition. They won't say it out loud, but you get that energy.
Right. And it's like, I look at stuff like that, I'm like, we've been doing the same grind together, like in each other's vicinity for 10 years. Like, we're peers. It's not like enemies. Like, we share a similar path. So like, there's not many people that actually understand this world or what it takes to navigate through all of this. So like, I look at everybody usually as an ally in 100%. This. There's a lot of people I don't necessarily want to like always be around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're all chasing the same exact thing, though.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a common ground between everybody, something that relates us all together.
So you definitely found, just off of that, you definitely find value in like relationship, like, because it seems like
Yeah.
based off like your experience even coming into Philly, before you even like broke bread with people, it's like you got to actually like know them, see what their interests are, like see
Yeah.
what they're trying to do, to see how you guys like overlap, as opposed to like, because I see a lot of people, they try to get into the creative space, like, oh, like I need this, and this. Like, bro, like we haven't even talked yet. I don't even know if we align what we're doing.
Yeah.
So like, was that kind of like your approach as well too?
I came in, you know what? That's the one thing I left out of how I really navigated things.
Yeah.
I came in as an asset. So I was like, how can I help you?
Right.
So that was really how I navigated through the meeting people. It was like, oh, you meet an event planner. Oh, like I know graphic designer, or I'm a graphic designer,
Right.
or I can help you with video, or I know the people that can do it. You start lending yourself as a service.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, everybody wants to be around you.
Yeah. There's a lot of value in that.
For sure.
There's a lot of value in that.
For sure. And a lot of like just intentional unpaid work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like hitting people up, finding a problem they might have, and then finding a solution, because you never know where that relationship goes down the line. Of like those people, you never know where they're going to end up. They
Right.
might be the president of Comcast tomorrow,
Yeah.
and they want to give you 100 bands for an hour of work.
Right. You never know who you're talking to. Like you said, like when you're going into those sessions, like a photographer of like a big name person could be in there. It's like, yo, I'm about to do this, and you go with. He's like, slide with me. You go meet that person that you're talking about. It's like sometimes you don't even realize you're one person away from that door that you're trying to
Yes,
get in.
the 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Yep.
That people should learn about that, because like you said, being that asset really plays into that aspect of life.
Yeah, you don't want to let yourself be used.
Yeah.
But you want to be an asset.
Yeah.
So like, it just takes you a long way.
Yeah.
And it's about like establishing boundaries with people. Like you show up, you wanted to find your way in the door, and then you did some free work for them, and then next thing you know, you're telling them I need $1,000 for what I just did.
Yeah.
That's not the best effort or way to go about it either. But like having clear communications, like, yo, I did this as a look to show you what I'm capable of. Let me know if you want to continue this.
Yeah.
Like I can do this type of stuff for you. And most people are either going to let you know they can't.
Yeah.
And you can decide whether you want to just continue it out of like goodness in your heart, or if you can't, but now they know what you're capable of. And even if they're not going to hire you, they might recommend you later down the line when they're sitting there talking to someone. They're like, I wish I knew somebody that did blah.
Yeah.
And they're like, I know somebody.
Yep. And that somebody will be you. That's 100%. So like at this time, you're navigating the Philly scene. It's like you said, like 2017, around that time.
Yeah.
So you're navigating. Are you a part of Rec at this point yet? Or are you still just HBC 100%?
HBC 100%.
So with that part, with the relationship aspect, I want to ask you, like, because I feel like people nowadays don't find the value in like the grassroots marketing of things, and like you're an independent label owner and stuff like that. So I know 100% you know the value in the grassroots, and just based on what you explained, like, why do you think that's kind of like a missing art in today's game? Like people only rely on the socials as opposed to like the actual tangible people of like getting out there, talking to the people, going supporting other people's events. So in return, they may support you, they may tap into what you're saying just because of you did that.
Yeah, I think it's because for a lot of people, they don't need to anymore. Like, especially if we're talking about like the Twitch streamer era, like you're almost better off like getting lit sitting in your house with the camera on 24/7. So like, and especially just kind of how like technology as it has advanced, like it's encouraging us to be a lot less social in person with things. But sorry, ask the question one more time.
No, just talking about the grassroots part. The grassroots.
Oh yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah.
So the grassroots part is essential, just because that is your tangible like interaction with the real world.
Right.
So like all the likes and comments are great, but if they don't interact with you in a level that like is like buying tickets for a show, or that you can communicate directly with them through like an email list, or they're pre-saving every song you ever put out and are then engaging on every platform and then telling people and sharing it with them, like turning people into your spokespeople.
Yeah.
I say it all the time, like with merchandise, like someone buying that one $20 shirt from you could then become a walking billboard for you for years. They might wear that shirt. That might be their favorite shirt now, and they wear it every single day. And now on a daily, people are asking them about it.
Yeah.
It's huge. And like, especially controlling your audience, things like a mailing list, phone numbers, all of that, like that's essential, because if you ever were to either, let's say, get banned from Instagram, or if Instagram wasn't around tomorrow, then you still have the ability to communicate with that audience. Do you
think the direct to consumer is going to be more than, do you think, let's talk about the evolution of like all this. Like we were talking about like the streamers and then sitting in front of the cameras and things of that nature. Like, do you think the evolution of direct to consumer is going to be just like all these streamers having their own sites and stuff now, where it's like, all right, we're streaming directly on our own website as opposed to like using Twitch or Instagram or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
How far off do you think we're from that? Because I feel like we talked about this on the pod before. I feel like people like the Kai Cenats or the APMs or the Sneakos, the Acts, why haven't they just went direct to consumer? Or even like the artists, when it comes to like the Drakes and stuff, they have their radio stations where they release new music and people are tapped into that on like a Spotify. Like, why do you think that shift hasn't happened already, where they just take control of that?
Someone hasn't been bold enough at a large scale to do it. And also there's too many of these like companies, like a Party or what are the other ones? Stake and stuff like that. Or no, that's not the platform.
But they're sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, but like those platforms that are like, Kick is what I'm thinking of, that aren't Twitch, that aren't YouTube, and like they're where the deplatformed people go.
Yeah.
But it's because they have bags they're throwing at people. And it's like, it's really hard to build on the grassroots level. And especially like, the reason people use those platforms is there's a built-in community that you get access to. It would be like an artist that's unknown deciding they're going to only put their music on their website, but they have nobody interested at all.
Right.
Where you could put it on Spotify, and Spotify might expose you to like their internal audience, so other listeners. But if it's only on your site and you have no traffic, how are people ever going to find it?
True.
So what it takes is someone big taking that step. Like if a Kai Cenat went and was like, I'm solo, and you got to subscribe through kaicenat.com, and the $5 it costs to be my follower to see my streams is through kaicenat.com, and he's paying like a Stripe fee.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like he's completely removed the middleman.
I feel like they would make a lot of money doing that.
They would.
Like you said, but to your point, like you have to be at a certain status for sure. And that's kind of what I was referring to. Like obviously if you use these platforms to build your fan base up, but you get to that level where you have millions of people tapped in, they're buying. Because I think when he did his like streamathon or whatever, the one time he made like 60 M's or something like that off of just streaming for like a week straight or whatever. I'm like, yo, imagine if he didn't have to go through the sponsors and everybody was just streaming directly at his site, like you said, at kaicenat.com, how much money he would have pocketed from there without having to pay the middleman or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. But it's harder.
Yeah.
It's way more, it's like, should you work a job or start your own business?
True.
It's like the same thing. It's like you can get guaranteed money or you can really gamble on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to start your own business as well if you have some funding behind it or you already have the connections 100%. In the industry you're trying to start.
Yeah, so to switch it over a little bit, like when it comes to that, like let's put it on the label aspect. Like you guys are independent right now, so like what are your goals as like as a label? Are you trying to be completely independent and get like funding eventually? Do you want to be like a JV to like for the bigger label? Like what's your like vision for what you guys are trying to do?
Best case scenario ever is we hit an independent hit ourselves, and we get to retain it all entirely independent, and we're doing exactly what we're saying right there. Yeah. That's best case scenario.
Right.
But a second to that would be having a JV deal, a joint venture partnership with either a label or a distributor. And I've had these conversations before, and really trying to understand what it takes to do that at an independent level is you need to be earning a lot. I've heard numbers thrown out there of like, to get some of these deals, like they're looking for you to already be generating $5,000 to $10,000 a month. yourself
Yeah.
before they'll jump in.
Right.
Which when you think about independent and like people grinding, if you were hitting $5,000 to $10,000 a month on your own, are you even really looking?
Right.
Unless they're bringing a whole lot of money extra and more exposure and can up the ante of how far it goes. But yeah, obviously the best case scenario is retaining it all, and that's what I would love to do. But at the end of the day, I also don't want to like sacrifice the ability for people to hear the music.
Yeah.
By just trying to retain it. So like if the opportunity made sense and it wasn't robbing us blind of all of our rights and like ownership of the music, and it will expose us to more people and help amplify it.
Yeah.
Totally want to do that. Because it's just gonna hopefully get us exposed to more people. Things that would be awesome would be like a 1-song deal that helps blow up one song, but then drives all of that attention back to our catalog.
Yeah.
Like on streaming, HBC has over 150 songs that we 100% own. So if we have one hit that then drives traffic back to 150 records that we own, that's going to generate a lot for us, even if we sacrificed on the back end with that single.
Yeah, so like you said, it's pretty much about strategic placement when it comes to like these deals and stuff like that. Like, what's your mindset? Because are you pretty much like the business side of the label? Do you have like anybody else helping on the business side, or is it mainly just you and then everybody else is like artist, or what's like the makeup?
On the back end, like admin side, it's just me.
Okay.
So the strategy is me and the artists. A lot of the like video content, I'm also directing and shooting a lot of this music video content or photo content. These are usually like creative directed by me and the artist together. These are a lot of the ways we've learned to cut costs.
Yeah, 100%.
Is like
you do the same thing here.
Yeah, and my background is video.
Yeah.
So before you asked that question before HBC, was I doing anything? The only thing I was doing was video.
Okay.
And skateboarding. And I got into video from skateboarding and filming my friends doing skate videos and all that.
So there's a like in the history of just like music, like hip hop and skate culture is very intertwined. So is that kind of like what your mold was when it comes to like the type of music that you like versus like, because you guys have a certain aesthetic and the visuals that you shoot is very like similar to like how skaters shoot their videos. Yeah. Like in terms of like the texture, the way like the visuals are in the videos. Is that like kind of like how you implement that into like what you guys are doing today?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily if everybody else, because I think there's only a few skaters in the group.
Okay.
But I think the fact that like the role I sit in, I'm often implementing a lot of those things. Yeah. Like I even like study like skate cameras. Yeah. And so like I grab these old camcorders and things like that. So I'm using like skate aesthetic in a lot of what we do, even if the artists aren't even fully aware.
Right.
But I think all of us were pretty inspired by like old skate videos and then like old like Odd Future and Jackass and all that type of stuff. Yeah. Or Odd Future, Loiter Squad. And then even just like the BTS videos you would get from like ASAP Mob and like Little B and like Soulja Boy and like the early internet stuff. Yeah. Like where you would see just people getting out there and doing it with whatever they had access to.
Yeah. How important, speaking of that, just doing whatever you have access to, like how important do you think like, I guess blogs are nowadays? Do you think we're shifting back into like kind of like that blog era, not necessarily like the websites, but like the platforms where it's like you go to certain pages, like you have like the On the Radars or even like different platforms that have a certain niche that they're just covering. You go find new artists, you find the videographers, you find whatever. Do you think that's like the main source of discovery now, as opposed to like just relying on like the streaming platforms?
Yeah, I think there's a word for it. Those pages, all the like promo pages. Yeah. It's called seeding. Yeah. And this is one of the strategies they use with the labels is like they'll plant an idea or like a controversial like message, and then they'll get a clip of an artist that's like saying something controversial in the very beginning of it, like Central C is a good example of that with the record he came out with. But you would do that, and then it's controversial. It grabs you in the first couple seconds, and then they put a grabber sentence on it, which is the caption.
Right.
And then they go and they pay a bunch of different pages to promote that message and create engagement.
Yeah.
That's the new blog. Because, like, think about what a publicist is to do. Like, they're trying to create awareness around a specific message that their client's trying to put out.
Yeah.
The way to do that now is the pages. The pages back in the day were Complex, Fader, the actual websites. The pages now live on platform in either like these like Twitter clip pages or the Instagram pages that are doing like lists and like they're just news. They're like underground news
Underground
pages.
news, doing reviews, like people that are coming up, things of that nature. I mean, so you do find value in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's exposing you to a new audience. Yeah. We used to pay to put our stuff on Scoop Hall.
Yeah.
And like 5 years ago, and we would like do stuff that was like very obvious that it didn't make sense, but we would like make the caption like, it would be like a record from like Lord Trippy and Tawobi, and we'd put like, is this the new Meek and Uzi? And it would like, the song wasn't even slightly close to that. And the comments would just be like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
Right.
But it was engagement farming.
Right.
And that same strategy is now just amplified by 100.
Yeah, you see it now, like, with all the labels and stuff like that, just engagement farming, no matter what's going on, like whether it's like, I don't know, a lot of people think, I'll use Doechii, for example, as she's been blowing up. People think like she does a lot of different stuff like for engagement. I don't know if you saw like the Hot Ones conversation where she made the reference about like straight men and everybody went like, who is this? Why is she saying this? Whatever it may be. But that's a way to get engaged. Whether she did it intentionally, whether she admit it or not, who knows? But like that's another way of, like you said, to get that controversial engagement. Now everybody's going to go click on her. Who is this woman saying this? Let me hear her music. Oh, her music's fire. I'm a fan now. Like, so I mean, a lot of people are doing that nowadays.
Also, shouts out Doechii, probably the best concert I've been to this year.
Yeah.
It was like the first or second stop of her tour right before the Grammy nomination.
Yeah.
And it was at Brooklyn Bowl.
Yeah.
And insane.
Yeah.
I was like blown away. And like, I liked the music. I've been aware. I liked the album a lot. And then I went to that show and I was like, whoa, this really is a star.
Yeah.
And then this is pre the public really going super crazy, and then it started the Grammy nomination, and then everything just started compounding. I think she's just really good at what she does.
I think she's amazing.
She's really talented, and I don't even think she's attempting to like engagement farm with a lot of the stuff she's doing. I think it's just.
Do you think it's just her?
I think it's just her being natural, and
for
some reason she hit a certain nerve with
that comment.
Yeah, with that comment, and it seems to just be like men in general.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
That outrage is just like creating so much more attention for her.
I agree.
She's very smart.
I think
she's doing.
I think she's very smart, and I think she's like I said, whether that was or not, like that idea, like you said, I think a lot of people, like a lot of men, just like you said, hit a nerve for whatever reason. But it's like when you go and peel back the layers, and like you said, you go to her, look at her shows, look at her performance on the Grammys, look at just like you were in person. It's like, yo, she's really that. Because, like, people are trying to spew, like, oh, she's an industry plant. It's like, nah, she's been working for a minute now. It's just her moment is here.
And she's outperforming everybody.
Yeah.
Industry plants can't do on a stage what she did.
Yeah.
Like, she reminded me of, like, Busta Rhymes in it. And then, like, next thing you know, she's singing. And then there's, like, her and DJ Miss Milan.
Yeah.
Both of them, like,
they're so talented.
Perfect synchronization. Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, my God, y'all got it.
Yeah, don't, because I was talking about this also on our podcast. Maybe like it might have been a couple months ago. I was like, the thing that really makes me like artists is like, yeah, their studio versions of their songs sound good, but when I go see you in person and you can really perform, your mic is on, you're doing your thing, it's like, all right, I'm locked in. I'll go buy whatever you're selling at the end of the day. Yeah. That's how I am when it comes to like art, because I like people that really take the time to really like practice their art, perform. When you're on the stage, like the live version sometimes may be better than the studio version just because the performance is A1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you feel the same way about stuff like that?
100%. For me, I usually get like slightly interested in a new artist through the music, and then I get sold by the performance and interviews.
Yeah.
So I get the initial interest, the song, maybe a project.
Yeah.
But for me, it's usually a song starts to get me. If a song really interests me, I'll go listen to that person's whole discography until I start not liking it.
Yeah.
And then I'll go and watch performance videos if they're out there, and then I'll watch interviews with them as well. And if their story, the way they interact, the way they talk, if their performance, I'm definitely like gravitating towards like very animated artists too, like monotone, boring music doesn't necessarily like draw me in all that much.
Right.
But like people that are really animated always capture my interest, like the Danny Browns, like those types of artists, Kendrick, Doechii, Ye, Tyler, like all of these artists, very eccentric, very also all have very unique voices.
Do you think the artist development piece is missing in music today?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think that's really happening.
Yeah.
I think they're just signing. Artist development's only really happening to me if the artist is doing it themselves.
Elaborate on that a little more.
I don't think the labels have any desire to like pick up like a new 18-year-old with 0 followers that has a good voice. Like, let's say how like a Justin Bieber came about, and he was younger, but like that was Scooter Braun looking through YouTube and finding a kid doing acoustic covers on YouTube. I don't think that's what they're doing anymore. They're looking for people that already have attention, and then they're like, could you be an artist too?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Kaisanat, do you want to be a rapper now as well? And then they can translate, okay, well, we know even if it's trash, they're still going to listen because there's an audience.
Yeah.
So they're looking for the audience ahead of time, which is essentially the artist development, is like creating a fan base and a narrative and a story. So unless the person does it themselves, who's doing it for you?
Right.
And that's why, like, there's some, I guess, like, industry plants of, like, a manufactured artist, but to me, that's usually only when they're, like, a social media figure that is now turned into an artist.
Yeah.
And they're just doing a cash grab to
100%.
try and, like, this person generates this much income off them talking into a mic, so I bet if they sing, they're going to buy.
Yeah.
But yeah, why would a label want to spend years? Think about like Big Sean and his coming up like under Ye.
Yeah.
There was like, but it was like 5 years of him probably being under Ye and good music where like he didn't put anything out.
Right. It was a long time.
Or like it was the mixtape stuff or singles and like it wasn't on a large level and it was because he was being developed during that time. What business wants to spend money on you to have you learn right now?
Yeah.
They'd much rather just grab people that are already doing it.
Don't you think that's diluting the product though a little bit, or do you think, or is it a give and take? Because like, I mean, sometimes you can have like an artist like maybe like an NBA YoungBoy who's just putting out projects. He's developing in real time, whatever it is, just getting better and better because he puts out so much music. As opposed to like that Justin Bieber aspect where it's like they're both super talented, they're both making a lot of money. Obviously, Justin Bieber's a megastar. NBA YoungBoy in his own right is a megastar too when it comes to that type of stuff. He's
doing Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah, bro, it's ridiculous. Like, and I don't see why people don't give him his credit the way, because dude's different when it comes to that. Just the volume and just the music, his fan base, and all that type of stuff. It's like, isn't there value in both? Don't you think? Like in terms of you can have somebody like a Justin who's super talented. You're developing from scratch because he needs to get that image. He needs songwriters. He needs X, Y, and Z. But you also have somebody like NBA YoungBoy who doesn't really necessarily need development. He may need a little bit, but he's just gonna put out records because he has that core base.
Yeah, I think there's room for both, and like not every artist necessarily needs this story for you to get invested in.
Right.
But that is who makes the superstars. And I would honestly, I fuck with YoungBoy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good amount of like what you could call lore or his aura, as the kids like to say.
Got that aura.
He's got that aura of like you don't really know he's living on top of a mountain that he bought and like he's just doing his own thing and like that. It reminds me of like Chief Keef like right when he moved out of Chicago and
Yeah.
like got the mansion, was just shooting videos every day.
Yeah.
But like a narrative and a story building of like who is he, I think would be good, especially for his fan base as they become like more mature. Because like a young boy fan was probably a 14-year-old on their PS4
Yep.
5 years ago.
Right.
They're now 19, 20 years old, going into like mid 20s and stuff like that. Like they're getting a little older, and like that's now an artist that's been around in their lives for a while.
Yep.
That they look at this height. I think some narrative building, story building, and especially now that he's back,
Yeah.
like I think it's a good chance to really like build out the like who is NBA Youngboy.
Because that's another topic I want to talk about too. Because like he hasn't been on tour, like, and I don't
think
know,
he's been able to.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like there's value in not like having to pop out all the time. Like you're dropping music, or whatever. But like sometimes nowadays, I feel like a lot of artists, they feel like they have to always be in your face 24/7 or always be. Yeah, well, like the grassroots part, early stage you do, but like when you get to a certain stage, I feel like there's value in not always being around. Like you said, like with the young boy, even though he couldn't, he probably would if he could, but like the fact that you said he's on top of a mountain in Utah and people, the only things you can see is like the videos that he puts out.
Yeah.
And now that he's going on tour and his fan base is older now, like he's gonna sell out everywhere he goes.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think there's like a strategy in that? Take it away from Young Boy. Do you think there's value in that, like for other artists? Or do you think more artists nowadays you'd have to be in people's faces just because like the amount of stuff that's going out on a regular basis?
It's both, because like the dopest artists and the ones that have the largest impact are the most mysterious and give us the least as an audience. So like the Franks, the Playboy Cardis, like the people that disappear and show up and just like over deliver when they show up, and make it a moment. That's what makes a superstar, is people that can make a moment.
Yeah.
But I think the thing a lot of people need to recognize is not everybody is a superstar, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a incredible career in music. You just don't necessarily have to be the super. You're not Beyonce.
Yeah.
But you could be an artist that makes a above average living, potentially even massive living, off of being in the music industry or being an artist still.
Yeah.
You just might not be selling out stadiums, but you sell out 1,000 capacity rooms everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like that's still huge.
Super huge.
And like could sustain you for the rest of your life doing that. But the people that disappear for a while and show back up and create a massive moment out of it all, like they tend to be our like monumental artists. But it's super hard to do. Like you can't tell someone with no traction, no motion, to just be mysterious.
Yeah.
Don't say a word, have no social media, drop a website with secret locations.
Yeah. That's the wrong way to do it.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work at all.
It only works when people are already interested.
Yeah.
So like I think the strategy is like be in people's faces as much as you can to get some traction, and then once you have that traction, switch to like being more meticulous and strategic with what you're presenting to the world.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still need to reach people.
Yeah.
And if you have no reach, being mysterious and all that, like it's cool for the 15 people watching.
Yeah.
But would you rather be cool and mysterious and reach 50 people, or be a little bit more cringe and on the internet, but you're reaching thousands?
I'll take the cringe every day because, like you said, the reach aspect, and like I feel like a lot of even local artists that I know or whatever, and like I work in marketing and stuff like that. I tell them all the time the same thing you said. It's like who are you being mysterious for? Nobody's paying attention right now. Like you have to, like you said, one, you have to be able to create that moment where people want to see what you're going to present next. Two, you need to have a quality enough product where people are checking for you on the regular. If you're not even to that point yet, like there's no sense of you being mysterious at all because nobody's checking for you yet.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have to create that demand. You have to have that motion where it's like, all right, you create something that's so undeniable or catches the people's ear that maybe even be just your region or whatever it is that now they're asking you, yo, when are you dropping again?
Yep.
Or when is your show or whatever? And it's like, then maybe that's when you can like, I'm not gonna say take your foot off the gas, but it's like, all right, now you can, like you said, be more meticulous and strategize. Like, all right, how do I want to make this next move so I can maybe do better than the last thing that I put out? So I agree with that 100%.
Yep.
So let's take it back to you. You're navigating 2017, 2018. So the label's growing. COVID's about to hit.
Yeah.
So how did that affect what you were doing? Like, were you working full time at that time and doing the label, or just still doing the label at this point?
During most of those years, I was like mostly unemployed.
Okay.
So like up until me working at Rec,
right? What year was that?
Like, I started 2021.
So right after COVID.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, end of 2021.
Okay.
So right at the end of COVID, I'd been trying to work there since I met them.
Yeah.
But once they actually opened up the physical space, but before then, I just did odd jobs. Like I worked at a convenience store for years, making $8 an hour.
Yeah.
But it was enough to fund me paying the bills, so I had time to do all the music stuff.
Right.
Because at the time, we didn't necessarily know about like investing money in marketing or all of that. Yeah. So like, it was kind of just making enough money to survive, and then we were just putting shit out there and seeing what would happen. But that odd jobs, and then also trying to like turn my knowledge into profit. Yeah. So like I was selling digital marketing services, I was doing graphic design services, videography, music video editing, all that.
Yeah.
Podcast editing. And then screen printing.
Yeah.
Basically picking up anything that like still fell in the arts or like things I learned how to do from running HBC,
right,
but then selling that as a service to others. And I was able to sustain for a long time. But I was only ever just getting by. So like I fully bought into the model of like, you got to quit your job and not have anything else and go all out and gamble only on the dream.
Right.
And that's how you'll make it. And I did that for years. Essentially until I couldn't anymore. And then, I came to the end of that. I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll go get a job. I got a job at Ann Pizza. It was end of 2019 or early 2020.
Yeah.
I worked there for a month. Hated it. Was sitting in Milk Boy Studios with Justin, and I literally pulled a coin out, and I was like, I'm going to flip this heads or tails. I don't remember what I called, but I was like, if I call it heads, I'm going to quit this job right now.
Yeah.
And I had to be there in the morning. Flipped it, landed right on it. Whatever I'd called, I was like, okay. Texted the boss. Yeah, my bad. I quit. Sorry. He starts blowing my phone up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a studio session.
Right.
Never spoke again. And then I got a job at a smoothie place for 1 week, and then COVID happened.
Damn.
But that month and a week of working between those two jobs qualified me to get the money from COVID. So I ended up on the what was it? Not PPA.
I know what you're talking about.
PUA. Yeah. Getting that bread and the stimulus from the government, and then had all the years of COVID of just getting free money from that.
Yeah.
Invested that all in equipment and marketing, and like we got multiple projects out during COVID. It killed us in the sense that like we were at our height locally in like performing and being in the mix and just being a part of things. So it kind of killed our ability to do like shows or have that in-person touch point, but it gave us more time to then get the music out. But it like what sucked was like putting albums out and not being able to have like a release party or do a show after it. Like a lot of the music we put out during that time never had a chance to even be performed live. Which sucked because it was like similar to a year like this where like we're all dropping and it's like some of our best work. It's all albums that happened for us during COVID too.
Yeah.
And then once that well dried up of free government money from COVID, I started like, got to find a job again. And then I got a job. I was delivering medical. I was a medical courier, and we were transporting like research supplies, and we'd like go to like the cargo section of the airport in like a Sprinter van, and then they'd be like pick some stuff up, and they'd be like drive to Chicago.
Oh shit.
And we'd go like to like a pharmaceutical company or a doctor's office and drop it off, and then have to drive right back.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, that you made $500 for driving 35 hours. And then rec called.
Yeah.
And then I ended up over there.
Yeah.
And then I've been in a full-time position for going on 4 years now. And I'm very thankful for rec and the ability to do that, because now I'm able to make money, guaranteed money that I know is coming in, and it bought me the luxury of not scrambling for money.
Yeah.
And having something to now fund what I'm doing.
Yeah, using your full time to fund the real thing that you want to do in terms of like, not saying that what you're doing at rec is not like what you really want to do, but like the label that you've been working so hard for. The thing that stuck out to me the most was just like, one, your willingness to just battle through like the situation you're doing, whether it be like, all right, I don't know, I'm in the best situation financially, but I'm not going to give up on what I'm doing. And I feel like also like not being afraid to actually work like a job that may not be paying that much. I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, they're afraid because of just like the social media image. They don't be caught dead working at a convenience store at an AM Pizza because it doesn't fit their image. But in reality, it's like, yo, I would fuck with you more as like just a fan or consumer if I know, oh, he's actually working these 12-hour shifts and then coming in the studio and cooking up whatever. I feel like that people are afraid of that hard work. They're afraid, like you said, to be caught lacking in a situation that may not match their image on social. Like, so how do you feel about that in like the landscape of like music? Do you feel like you see that a lot of times, or like what's your thought process?
You saying that just made me think of a funny story. Shouts out Armani White.
Yeah, shout out to Armani.
While I was working at Ann Pizza, this is like right before him blowing up with Billie Eilish. Like, we had known each other for a few years. Just he was around West Philly, I'm in West Philly.
Yeah.
And then through the music thing, and then like our teams had collaborated in quite a lot of ways before. But I'm sitting there. It's like my first week working at Ann Pizza on the Drexel camp, or on the Penn campus, like 40th and Chestnut. And here comes Armani White coming in. And he's like, "What's up, Riley? I know you work here." I was like, "Yeah," dap him up, and then I make him a pizza. And like in that moment, it was like, you could take it one of two ways. It's like, was your like, is this like Clark Kent, like your identity's revealed, and you're like, ah, shit, now he knows that I have to make a living.
Yeah.
But like, what way in the world? Who's shunning anyone for having a job and like trying to survive?
Exactly.
And in no way did he do that in any way. It was all love to see me there, dap me up, and then I made him a pizza.
Yeah.
But for some people, and I get it, like if you're also another artist, you don't want to like be dropping off someone's Uber Eats that's another rapper.
Yeah.
And you're just like, they're like, yo, I just saw blah, blah, blah drop off my Uber Eats. He must be down bad.
Yeah.
Nah, maybe he's just hustling still.
Yeah.
And maybe he's still grinding and making money to survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard because it's like, it's ego mixed with image. But then it's like, do you want to just ego and image yourself out of all avenues to survive, that now you're just broke in Rick Owens putting up, you got some Ricks and some Amiris on, but you don't have any money in your pocket.
Yeah.
But your fit pics look good.
Yeah.
But you don't want that. You want to be able to live. You want to
survive. You want to eat. You want to like do day-to-day stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. And I think with everything, like, you kind of just got to give up the ego to survive in this world. Like, the quicker you can get past all the things that like hold you back, whether it be like self-consciousness or doubt or whatever it might be, like the moment you're able to break through that is the moment you start to really see progress. I think it's really healthy to like embarrass yourself, and be comfortable doing that.
Yep.
And like not like fall into a shame pit and you're like, what do I do now? I can't see the world anymore.
Right.
Nobody cares. They forget tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless it's too crazy. But like
Unless you're on some yay shit.
Right. But like stupid shit like having a job isn't ruining your career
at all, bro. And that's the thing I say all the time to people, like even people that are like in my inner circle. It's like, bro, if you struggling, it's like, bro, you don't have an image to upkeep. Like, go get a job. Go do this stuff's still gonna be here. Like that's the thing. Like if you're working with a team, you probably know this. Like working in HBC, it's like, yo, if y'all gotta go make some money, go make some money. We can rearrange our schedules to make this shit happen. But go get your bread so you can survive, and then we'll maneuver around that. But the biggest thing is communication. That's why I say all the time, I'm a big advocate of this. Like, it doesn't matter what you have to do, just communicate it, and we'll figure out a different way to get it done.
Yep. How you think that's how we have to survive? Like, we're entirely self-funded.
Yep.
What that means is we have to all make the money. So when an artist is putting an album out, there isn't an HBC budget for this album to come out. It's that artist's money being put into the creation and release of their album.
Yeah.
And we're all strategizing and all hands on deck doing everything we can to amplify what we're doing. But you have to, like, unless you're a trust fund kid, unless you've stumbled across a whole stack of money, or you just or you get signed, or you have all this access, like, you're either just going to post your music for nobody and hope that you can catch some traction off of, like, just grinding and, like, getting something to naturally move, and even then, like, you know how much you have to do to make, like, Instagram pay your bills?
Yeah.
And, like, unless you're living at home, barely have any bills, like, it's very hard to imagine spending less than $1,000 a month to live.
Yeah.
Between rent, bills, and that's rent, living with people, splitting bills, like all of that. If you got your own place, you're paying $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
And that's just off of bills and rent. That's not even feeding yourself.
Right.
That type of shit either.
And God forbid you got a car.
Yeah. Yeah, God forbid you got a car. You get some tickets. You get some all the extracurriculars that happen when it comes to that.
Yeah, like, bro. Like, it's not cheap to live right now. And art in general is expensive. And especially, it's expensive to get into art and creating it. It's even more expensive to get into artistry and, like, being a public figure.
Yep.
And a lot of it comes down to marketing. And it's like, unless you're doing just viral stuff, you have to find ways to, like, organically market.
Yeah.
If you hop on, you make a song that's literally like, you just rap once a week about the trending topic of the week, you could probably start to see a lot of natural traction that way. But if you're not into that and you're making original music, you're an original artist, you got to do something else to amplify that. And a lot of that's through, like, ads or, like, those pages we were talking about. Like, you got to find ways to reach the audience that's going to connect with you. And unfortunately, a lot of that is money.
Yeah.
And also being dope. At the end of the day, money only does so much, but you have to be dope. Being dope above all is the answer to success.
Yep.
But there's also the side of, like, some of the dopest people have nobody looking at them.
Yeah. Wow, that's true. That's 100% true.
And you could be the dopest person in the world and 5 people ever knew who you were. That happens every day.
Yeah.
And those people give up and they go work at UPS.
Yeah.
But they were the best.
Yeah.
And it happens in sports.
Yep.
It happens in music. It happens in everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard. The people that see the top, honestly, besides the people that, like, strike gold in it and, like, get really lucky and, like, viral success, it's the people that hang in the longest. It's perseverance and patience. The people that are around the longest and can continue to create moments or be a part of the conversation are the people that create longevity in it all. And that's what we're all after. None of us just want, like, a viral moment where we make 10 grand and then you never see $1 for the rest of your life. None of us want that.
No.
We want that sustained, constant success for the rest of our lives until we choose to stop.
That's facts.
And that takes a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That takes the ability to pivot and adapt to things, the ability to like grow with the times. Like you don't want to like age yourself out of what you're doing either.
Yeah.
It's always a young man's game.
Yeah.
Or young person's game. So keeping up with the times, not letting yourself get jaded. These damn kids.
These damn kids.
And their TikToks. You don't want to fall behind.
Yeah,
either.
don't want to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Always hating on the new trend. But
Exactly.
as we start to like wind down a little bit, like tell me what your experience has been like working at Rec. You said this is a place you wanted to work at for a long time. They've been having a big impact in the city. You've been a part of a lot of the impact that they've been making as of recent as well.
Yeah.
So what's it been like working for them since you've been there?
It's been awesome. Like it's been my only crash course in anything related to the entertainment industry was HBC and being around throwing mostly my own things or like helping other people with theirs. So like getting into rec taught me what it takes to do this at like a structured rec isn't necessarily corporate, but like on a level of like doing this as a structured business
Right.
and understanding the numbers behind it all and how to create in that model. It also was like the largest crash course in so many things that like I knew a little bit about.
Right.
Whether it be marketing, whether it be like live streaming, like what we did, whether it was retail, which is how I got into rec. I started as a retail manager running a store,
Yeah.
and it was all local artists, their merchandise.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And it was like the whole front, and rec is in a mall, so I got to communicate with, it was like 40 plus local creators, and then I was bringing new things into the store. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
I love doing that. And then into marketing, which was like my passion with HBC. So like learning how that works at a corporate level, so incredible and useful for me. Just because I had only been able to work with the budgets and running ads and doing marketing in the music industry is a lot different than what it was for rec.
Right.
It's like I got to learn a different business model in it all. And then beyond all of that, and now it's been with the membership department, which I run.
Yeah.
That is the most rewarding job in the world because it just connects me with the entire community.
Yeah.
So like,
I didn't even think about it from that perspective. Yeah, you're right.
There's 800 members, and I'm the point person for every one of them.
Yeah.
So like, every day my job is just to have communication, or is to have conversations with people. And essentially, like at the heart of my role is like find out what this person is interested in, why they are using rec, and then see if I know any ways to aid them in what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, oh, this is a artist, they need someone to make music videos. I know people that make music videos that are rec members. Let me hit them up, tell them to reach out. Now a connection has been born.
Yeah.
So like creating like micro communities. We've started a ton of clubs around certain skills in the last year, and like watching these communities grow is beautiful to me because like a lot of what I'm able to do now is things I wish I got to be a part of 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When starting. And it was like, damn, if this was here for me, whether it's like skill trainings on different topics,
Yeah.
whether it's connection to these different communities based on skills, and then also the access like to the studios in general,
major.
and then the events and all of that. Like it's rec turned into like a one-stop shop for like I can get all of those experiences. What I will say is being at rec all week long, it's constant events, it's constant networking, it's constant like communication with creatives in the Philly area, that it did kind of take away my want to like go out to events because I'm doing it all day long.
Yeah.
So it's like, and especially like networking at an event, now that I recognize like talking to someone in like with light music playing in the background and like in a conference room, much different than like being drunk trying to talk to someone like, yo, we're gonna link, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna cook up some shit. Like, hit me up. Yeah, that happens every time I go out, and like you just have like what feels like empty conversations with people drunk at the bar. You're like, I know we don't have each other's number.
Yeah.
How are we gonna hit each other?
Yeah. That always happens. Yeah. You be like, bro, I'm gonna hit you. We're gonna do collab, whatever it is. Like,
you're like, okay.
It's like, all right, bro. Like, you just chatting at this point, but you just go along with the conversation because there, whatever it is. Don't want to be rude, but like, like these when you're marketing now, it's like more intentional too.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if you look at it like this though. Like even like being the head of like the membership of Rec and things like that. Like I feel like, do you ever get the feeling like people are just trying to like get to you to get to like a bigger situation? Like how do you feel those out? Because like you are like a staple in the organization, and they know like probably if you bring ideas to the heads of the companies, like, oh, they may actually take his word for whatever it may be. Like how do you like navigate, like you said at the beginning of the pod, like not being used but like being valuable? Like how do you navigate that now that you're in a position of like where you actually have staying in like the Philly creative scene?
Yeah, I just hear everybody out. So whatever they're bringing to me, I let them go.
Yeah.
And I let them tell me whatever it is, like whether it's really critical about me, about the company in general, about certain aspects. Like I hear them out, and then I'll either give perspective back to the person so that like they can maybe see where we're coming from on the rec side, or I'll take that feedback in and then I'll present it on a higher level to Will and Dave and Chenille, and like bring these things to them that have been raised from our membership base.
Yeah.
Overall, my job is to essentially be the voice of the members.
Right.
So like, and just to part of my history too is I'm the first member of Rec.
Really?
So I'm the prototype.
You're member number one.
Member number
That's
one.
That's lit though. That's
so
lit.
Like now going from that, I experienced it all. I had my own like critiques or feelings about different things of how things would work. So now that I've been able to be in the position, number one, I've tried to like implement those things that I had. But now I also just understand like people want to be heard and they want to hear dialogue in general. So like sometimes it's like, yo, I hear what you're saying. This isn't going to be able to be changed. This is the reason why. Or, you know what? We weren't thinking about it like that.
Yeah.
We're going to go talk about that. And you might have really just stirred an idea that helps us over here. So I try and take, like, no one's ideas to me are dumb. There's reason for what they're saying.
Yeah.
And, like, I find myself, like, there's moments where I'm like, I'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. But even if it's a brand new person, like it's a fresh perspective to it all. Is it possible all the time? No.
Right.
But like there's great ideas there.
Yeah.
So I just try and always be mindful and also keep myself open to everybody to be able to ask or say what they want. I don't want them to be scared to say their feelings, even if it's super critical. Because if we don't understand like the general feeling from people, like how can we improve?
Right.
But yeah, I'm always that in all aspects of life, and with Rec, with HBC, like I'm always open to the criticism and like openly seeking it too, because I'm always trying to improve. I'm always a student. I always want to be learning. The moment I stop is like, I think there's a problem.
Right.
When I've stopped being open to like receiving feedback from people.
That's good to hear. So tell me what can you expect of you guys in the future, whether it be Rec, whether it can be like HBC. I know you're working on a lot of stuff. Tell me what's coming, like be down the pipeline in music before we wrap up so people can tune into what you got going on.
Yes. Let's see. So 610, we'll have a new album, Shameless Nocturnal, from Moses Mosima and Nothing Special. In July, we're going to have another album. And then in August, we're going to have another album.
Yeah.
And in September, we have another album. I think that's going to I won't reveal exactly whose albums those are because they haven't said anything publicly yet. But the easy thing I can give to everybody is everybody in HBC is dropping this year.
That's good.
So which order that is, you'll find out. But Yeah, really just grinding on all of those releases. Obviously, they're like soon,
Yeah.
and also like following each other pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So really just trying to get as much out there so that it can start reaching people. So yeah, ton of work there. Bunch of rollout strategies. Just like tune in. We're really just putting our hearts into it.
Yeah.
And trying to be as organic as, not even trying, being as organic as we possibly can and reaching the right people. Not focused on any like vanity metrics. Like, I don't really care. I care about like listeners and followers and all that, but only if it's real.
Yeah.
So like, if 1,000 new followers on Instagram show up for one of the artists, but they're all bots or like people that would, even if they're not bots, they're people that would never engage with the content, like it's a vanity metric.
Yeah.
Now you have 1,000 more followers, but zero engagement was gained from that. I want 100 followers. Well, I want 1,000. I want millions, but I would rather have 100 followers that were now really active and engaged. So it's a lot of advanced targeting and marketing to those people based on those interests now. And then on a personal front, just keeping up with my health, trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get myself skateboarding again.
Yeah.
Not even the most healthy activity, but in terms of like hurting myself.
Still getting active though.
It is an activity.
Being outside, doing things.
So that, and then with rec, like just come pull up on us at rec. Like we have a space. We have a community. We have the studios. It's constantly growing, and
there's 2 live venues too.
2 live venues. So like pull up, come join our community, come check us out. Even if you're not signing up as a member, like pull up to the public events, get the use out of this like rec community space that is here in Philadelphia. There's not a lot of options or other things like it in Philly or really in other places. So like I always try and take that into consideration too. Like, don't take it for granted either. Like, and that's a message to myself. Of like, because even then, like I'll work all day, and like I work in a really creative environment that is filled with studios and every avenue to work on something creative. But I'll still find myself like at the end of the work day, like feeling like a work day. Yeah. And now I need to go home. I'm not like jumping in a studio to work immediately after I just worked all day. Yeah. But like, yeah, recognizing the tools that are in front of you is a general good habit for everybody. Even if it's not all that much, even if all that tool is you got a camera on your phone, you got $50 microphone from Amazon that's USB and plugs into your computer, you can really take that really far.
100%.
Like, don't doubt what you have in front of you, because you can just go. Like, there's artists making it off of recording into BandLab off their phone speaker. So like, you can really do anything. Yeah. There's videographers making it only shooting on iPhones. Yep. You can really do whatever you want. You just need the want and the drive to actually commit to it. Be consistent. Find something. Try a bunch of stuff. When you see something work, double down on it and continue it.
All right, great. Well, tell everybody where they can find your social media handles. Tell them HBC social media handles, and we'll close out.
Yes, sir. At Riley, Riley of HBC, and then at Highest Basement. You can find all of our stuff on there.
Well, we appreciate you pulling up to this podcast. It's a great conversation. You gave up a lot of gems. I enjoyed the conversation thoroughly.
Me too, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, man. You got to stop by again. Like, whenever you guys drop some stuff, let me know. You know, we'll push it through the platform, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? If you got some artists that got stuff coming, they want to come on the show, let me know. We'll fill it out and see if we can make it happen, man.
Absolutely,
well,
bro.
That's all I got for this episode of the Faces of the Future podcast. It's your boy, Myles. Peace.